It's estimated that at any given moment, somewhere between 5 and 10% of what is in your field of sight is shadow, darkness, isolation, the unknown. Imagine how it would be to live in these stagnated, dreary parts. In that crevice between the bookshelf and the wall, that gap between the wardrobe and the floor, to live surrounded by a crushing, overwhelming sense of darkness and nothingness, to know that that is your place and will always be, to be left alone, unable to escape, no companionship but your blackest thoughts. Would the darkness consume you, or would you search for a way out, to somehow live in the brightness? No wonder, when I lie in bed awake at night, the house begins to creak and starts to come to life. No wonder that in this dark time I feel the presence of eyes scouring over me. No wonder we hear so many stories of those who die in their sleep. For in this time, the unknown rules over all, and I don't think that the light of your monitor is enough to keep you away from that thing that just moved by your right foot. You crawl into bed around 9. Funny, that's a little early for you, but you don't seem to care. You toss a turn for a few minutes before you feel it. Someone's watching you. You're sure of it. You scan the room and find nothing, but you still feel uneasy. You lay back down, facing the room. You shut your eyes and try to sleep, but you can't. You still feel the eyes on you, watching you. You pull the covers over your head, and the feeling fades. You relax and close your eyes, but as soon as they shut, the feeling returns. You're scared to move the covers, to search for the eyes that you know are watching you. You're terrified, but you yank the covers down, and as soon as you do, your heart skips a beat. You scan the room, seeing absolutely nothing yet again. The feeling disappears, and you scold yourself for acting like such a child. You roll over toward the wall and quickly fall into a peaceful sleep. But let me ask you this. Do you know how many hiding places that are in your room? I do. Thousands. Almost everyone has a moment of deja vu, going about your business. You travel to school or work, or simply strolling through the place you call home when something catches your attention. You're sure you've seen it before, but yet you're unable to recall when or where. You dismiss it, convinced that your memory is playing tricks on you. You convince yourself that it's simply a vague recollection of a similar past event. 9 out of 10 times you will be correct, but once in a while the deja vu will leave behind an uneasiness that nestles itself in the back of your head. When you tell your friends or family, they too dismiss it as a fragment of your imagination. You pay no more heed to it, pushing the restlessness to the far reaches of your consciousness. There it will sit, unattended by the safeguards of your mind. At the end of the day, you go to bed with a self-imposed idea of safety, fully believing that whatever you felt will pass after a night's sleep. The next day, you wake, feeling refreshed, the world as it has always been, or so it would seem. The deja vu has already slipped from your memory, and you even recall what the uneasiest had felt like. You drink your coffee or your tea, do your usual morning rituals, say farewell for the day to your family, and then go to school or work. But as the door closes behind you, there are faint whispers. They fade with each step forward you take, and while you believe you can just make out their meaning, you again dismiss it as an overactive imagination. He doesn't remember, they say with an unearthly low volume. My dear, he will never remember. I walked into bed and ate breakfast tired as ever. First I entered the bathroom, turned on the light, and washed up. I was too exhausted to turn on the rest of the lights in the room, so it was a little dark. My bag was thrown under what appeared to be a full-length mirror. There was not enough light to make out all of my features, but I could make out the basic shape of my body in the reflection. It's not like it mattered. I was going to bed anyways, so I didn't need to check myself out. I could see my reflection out of the corner of my eye following me as I shuffled around the room. As it should. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I was out. A few hours later, I was feeling a bit chilly. I felt a breeze on my face. I thought that someone must have left the window open. When I got up and scanned the walls for a window, all I found was a sheetrock covered in tacky wallpaper. To get a better view, I walked over to my bag and turned on the light switch. When I looked toward my back to get a jacket, I found the source of the breeze. There was no mirror. It was a window. And it was open. Whatever was on the other side of that window was now in my room. I heard a noise coming from the bathroom. I found myself wishing I had turned on the lights sooner. It might happen one morning that you wake up home alone. This could be normal depending on your situation. But this morning will be different. While your environment will all seem exactly the same, you'll notice that everything is quieter than normal. If you go outside, you will notice a distinct lack of anything like birds, insects, or people. As far as you travel, you will not encounter another sentient human being. The entire world will be intact, but empty except for yourself. There are currently over 100,000 missing persons cases in the United States. Some are just normal cases of murder or kidnappings, but in others, the disappearance cannot be explained and no remains of the person has ever been located. When I was a child, my father owned a janitorial company that worked almost every night at our local showbiz place or Chuck E. Cheese's. He would often bring me to work with him so I could play all of the arcade games without having to wait in line. He'd even spark up the towering animatronics and let me watch them play their happy birthday songs and other quaint jingles. It was so much fun, until the curtains closed and it went dark. A part of me hated not being able to see the fake animals, especially the wolf and the big gorilla playing the keyboard. It would get so dark once all of those curtains, lights, stopped illuminating, but knowing they were hiding behind the curtains severely spooked me. Another part of me was glad I couldn't see them, with their large plastic grins, bulging eyes, and blankless stares that trapped the false joy of their act. Anything that can remain that happy in the dark, imprisoned by crimson drapes, and frozen in time until the puppeteer presses go, is just sinister in nature. Even the empty arcade, full of fantastic memories of the day past, sits dark, quiet, and abandoned. There is something very unsettling about a place that can bequeath equal parts of joy and dread when the sun sets and the doors are locked. I've long since taken over my father's company, and we still hold the contract for this haunted place. Tonight is the first time I've brought my young son with me to work so he can enjoy the arcade like I once did. And my hope is that when my son finally builds up the courage to pull back the curtain to view those plastic beasts, he isn't greeted with the same malevolent stare that looked down unnaturally upon me.